Last week we covered how to receive communion. This week I will cover what happens on the altar after everyone receives. As all of the Eucharistic ministers finish distributing, they head back to the altar and return the ciborium with the hosts to in front of the tabernacle. Here the priest or deacon will consolidate the remaining hosts into a number of ciborium, depending on how many hosts are left and the needs of the next Mass. Our ciborium can probably hold about 400 hosts each if maxed out, which is more than we need for the entirety of our largest Mass. Usually each ciborium actually needs between 75 and 100 hosts, depending on the Mass and which section it will be at. So rather than putting one ciborium with 400 hosts in the tabernacle, I would put 4 ciborium with about 100 each, if I knew that the next Mass would need at least 4 ciborium. Then we begin purifying. This isn't cleaning of germs, but a removal of the remnants of the body and blood of Christ before actually cleaning in the sacristy after Mass. The first thing to be purified is the fingers of all the Eucharistic ministers. As small particles of the host can cling to your fingers, we dip the fingers that we used to distribute the communion in a small water bowl and dry them on a purificator. Everyone should be conscious of this fact if we receive in the hand. We need to also check our hands and fingers for any particulates of the host and to lick them up if we see any. During this time is also when the priest or deacon will fill any pyxes, which is basically a mini ciborium used to carry the Eucharist to those who are sick or homebound. Then we go to the altar to purify all of the empty sacred vessels. This is done by adding water to both denature and wash out the remnants of the Eucharist. As each sacred vessel is purified, a silent prayer is said that goes, "What has passed our lips as food, O Lord, may we possess in purity of heart, that what has been given to us in time may be our healing for eternity." Once all of the vessels have been purified, the water with the remnants of the Eucharist is consumed by an ordained minister. The final piece to this would be distributing the pyxes to the ministers bringing communion to the homebound, if there are any for that Mass. They are summoned down to the foot of the altar to receive the Eucharist in their pyxes and receive a special commission and blessing to go forth bringing Christ to the members of the community too ill to make it to Mass. They leave immediately afterwards because they have gotten their blessing and are on a mission to bring Jesus to others, and we do not want to make Jesus wait. Once a pyx with a consecrated host is received, that person should go immediately to those who need communion. No dawdling, no stops. Some of our Eucharistic ministers have reasons why they can't leave right away, in which case those pyxes are left in the tabernacle for them to receive later. After all of this is completed, the ordained ministers return to their seats, and we are all given a time of silent prayer. The instructions for Mass state that there should be time for silent prayer between the end of the communion hymn and the prayer after communion. Most priests don't give a lot of time for this, but a few years ago I heard a suggestion from another priest to help the people enter into this time of silent prayer by giving a little reflection point for them to focus on. This is when I began adding the prompt, "We have received the body and blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ," as a reminder of the true presence of God we have just received, and then following that up by switching to a first-person meditation for each of us to consider in our hearts, as we are united to the presence of God in the Eucharist. Technically, this silent prayer time is yours to do with as you see fit, but my meditative point is usually crafted around the theme of the readings that I had chosen to preach on that day, and are a good option for entering deeper into that silence, especially if you struggle to enter into silence on your own. After an adequate amount of silent time, the priest starts the prayer after communion by standing and saying, "Let us pray." But we will talk about that next week. God bless.